Kamogelo, a very good morning to you once again. Not a very good morning for the family of certainly Katlego. And talk us through, earlier in that exclusive interview you did with the mother, I guess this really does point to the whole human tragedy of this spectacular story that has unfolded. This really puts to the fore the grief of this family who are still wanting answers.
Most certainly, Criselda, the family still wants answers, and there's definitely more questions that they are asking themselves, because they now are telling us that there are different stories that are coming out. The fact that initially when the police reported about this burnt body in cell 35, that the body had an injury on the head, blunt force trauma on the head, but the family has been told that Katlego did not have that kind of injury on his head. So there are many questions now that will definitely be coming up, and there's a lot of answers that police have to provide in terms of those questions that are coming out. But the family is really, really grief-stricken at the moment. Emotions are running high, as you've mentioned in the intro. Earlier on, we saw members of the Methodist Church arriving here just to come and give a word of comfort to the family that is grieving over this issue that has captured the attention of South Africa. We are also seeing more people arriving, individuals arriving just to come and be with the family, be part of what the family is going through at the moment. This is fresh news for them. They are still finding it difficult to deal with the news that they have found out. But I have with me here Katlego's childhood friend and neighbor, next door neighbor, Thabiso, who is going to speak to us about Katlego and what kind of a person he was as they were growing up. He spoke to us about how Katlego was actually a music lover. And that please just briefly tell us about Katlego. We know that right now you are going through a lot, but just tell us, what type of person was he?
Yeah, Katlego, he loved music very much. He was kind of person who was hands-on, a very handy person. He helped almost everyone. We were very close, especially at a young age in primary school, high school. We were very close. He helped a lot of people. He also helped me with many things, my work stuff. He was there for me whenever I need him, advices. And one thing that I always remember him, he loved three things most. He always spoke about those things. He spoke about traveling. He adored Bloemfontein Celtics. He will leave everything, he will do anything just to go to watch Bloemfontein Celtics. Whether they are playing at home or Gauteng, anywhere, he will do anything. Lastly, the one that he loved most, that he was always talking about his children. He loved his children. The last born, he was always talking about the last born. I want to see my boy growing up with the present father and everything. I told him, as long as we wake up every morning, we still have another chance at life to do something better with our lives, with the loved ones. He loved his children very much. Even when he disappeared, I think he disappeared early last year. I was with him, I think I looked for him for 2 weeks before, because he has that tendency of going somewhere and then he comes back after a week. So it was like that at first. Before that, man, he always find his way home, always talk, he always find the phone to contact me. Even with the new numbers that I don't know, the following day, the numbers are no longer working. But most of the time, he always find a way to come back home. So this time around, it was a bit surprised because it took very long. It took him very long. So we didn't know what happened. We started to wonder. And then I even went to ask some of my colleagues, so I wanted this kind of person to say, even went to the taxi. He left even Marwan in our car, he said Marwana. He was always there. And then I once went there to wait for him, maybe hoping to see him, but nothing came out of that. Yes.
And with the news that has now come out that it was actually his body that was used in this Thabo Bester saga, how do you feel about that as his friend?
When I received the news, it was on Friday late. I was in a mini get together with some of my colleagues. I couldn't believe when I received a call from my mother, this and this and this, because she was also not sure if everything, she was not sure what was happening. Immediately there, I informed my colleagues I have to go. I just received the bad news, but I couldn't come home because I couldn't believe that. On my way home, I prayed that maybe it could be a mistake or something like that. It could be a mistake. I went there, and then yesterday, that's when in the morning, that's when I received the confirmation that it was him. Still, I couldn't believe. The only thing that made me forget about the whole situation, I went to play football. I just tried to forget about everything, and then when I came back after the match, it started. Now I'm struggling to digest everything now. I'm struggling to digest everything because we lost too many people. They lost a football lover, they lost a friend, but to his children, they lost a father. To his mother, he lost a son. His grandmother, he lost a grandson. To me, I lost a friend and a brother. Yes.
Do you think there will be justice in this matter with all the questions that are still hanging?
With that, ma'am, I don't know. I just don't know because it seems like there are many stories. There are many stories concerning this case. This case has been dragging too long, and then we didn't know someone who was close to us is involved in this. But I don't know. I just don't know what will happen. But I just hope the justice will be served. I don't know how. The people who know the law, they know what to do. But I don't know how it's gonna pan out. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. That was Thabiso Mphatse there talking to us about his friend, his childhood friend, someone that he grew up with in the streets of Ipopeng here in Bloemfontein, someone that he played soccer with, someone that he went to school with and he shared bread with. He's talking to us about how he always spoke about the team, Celtics, how he always spoke about his children, especially his son, his 2-year-old son. Katlego leaves behind, of course, his 2 children, a daughter who is 4 years old, and his son. He leaves behind his mother and his grandmother that he used to stay here with, where we are standing now. We're just standing outside the yard of where Katlego Bereng grew up. But as his friend says, we wait to see how this will unfold. We wait to see if indeed justice will be served and the people who did this will face that justice. And all the questions that are still hanging about what exactly happened to Katlego will be answered.